Timilehin Ajayi stood by the rusting iron gate of his family compound in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, a single bag slung over his shoulder. The sun hung low in the sky, casting an orange glow over the familiar dusty roads and corrugated iron roofs. It was the end of an era for him. He had just completed his secondary school certificate examination, and now his life was poised to change in ways he couldn't yet imagine. For as long as Timilehin could remember, football had been more than just pastime. It was his refuge, his sanctuary, and his one true ambition. Every afternoon after school, he would gather with his friends at a makeshift field behind St. Peter's Grammar School. There, on a patchy, grassless field marked by stones and worn goalposts, Timilehin's feet told stories of dribbles, impossible goals, and the roar of imaginary crowds. It wasn't just good, it was exceptional. Coaches at local tournaments spoke of him in hushed, hopeful tones, predicting a future that sparkled with promise. But as is often the case in many Nigerian homes, ambition had to negotiate its place with reality. His elder brother, Tunde, had long taken on the role of guardian since their parents passed away in a road accident when Timilehin was 10. Tunde, 11 years his senior, had sacrificed so much to ensure Timilehin stayed in school and off the streets. He was a bank officer in Lagos State, a position that had taken him years of night studies, part-time work, and relentless determination to secure. In his eyes, success meant stability, a well-paying job, a respectable title, and the kind of life their parents would have wanted for them. When Timilehin arrived at the bustling city of Lagos, the cacophony of honking danfos, the ever-moving crowd of traders, commuters, and students was away from the quiet streets of Ijebu-Ode. He was both terrified and fascinated. Tunde's apartment was modest but clean, located in the densely populated area of Agege. On his first night, as they ate a simple meal of eba and egusi, Tunde laid out his plans. Timilehin, you've done well in your exams. Tunde began, his voice firm but kind. Now it's time to think about your future. I've already spoken to Uncle Wale. He can help you gain admission to Lagos State Polytechnic. I want you to study banking and finance. With time, you will join me in the bank. There's good money there. Timilehin's heart sank. He had hoped his brother would see the fire in his eyes, would understand that numbers on a page could never steer his soul the way a ball at his feet did. But he also knew better than to argue. Okay, bro. Timilehin replied softly, though every fiber of his being screamed in protest. Weeks turned into months. Timilehin enrolled in extra lessons, prepared for polytechnic admission, and did his best to adjust to life in Lagos. But the ache in his chest never left. Each evening, he would peer through the window, watching boys his age play football in the dusty lot next to their compound. His legs twitched with longing. One Sunday afternoon, while Tunde was on a weekend shift at the bank, Timilehin sneaked out with an old pair of boots he had managed to smuggle from home. The neighborhood boys welcomed him like a long-lost brother. It took only minutes for Timilehin's skills to mesmerize them. His swift dribbles, sharp passes, and powerful shots left spectators cheering. Word quickly spread about the boy from Ogun State who could dance with the ball. A local amateur coach, Coach Musa, noticed him and extended an invitation to join a small football academy in the area. Timilehin balanced his secret life with the academic expectations of his brother. Mornings were for studies and errands, afternoons for football, and evenings for lessons, but secrets have a way of unraveling. One fateful evening, after a neighborhood tournament where Timilehin had scored the winning goal, He returned home in dust, a slight cut on his forehead. He was met at the door by Tunde, who had been called home early by a neighbor concerned about Timilehin's absence. The confrontation was inevitable. "Timilehin, so this is what you have been doing, right? This is what you have been doing behind my back." Tunde's voice was laced with anger and disappointment. "After everything I've done for you, you want to waste your life chasing a foolish dream." Timilehin felt a mixture of shame and defiance. "It's not foolish, bro," he replied, his voice trembling. "It's my dream. It's what makes me happy. I can be something I know I can." But Tunde was unmoved. He forbade Timilehin from ever stepping on the pitch again. The next day, he collected Timilehin's boots, jerseys, and anything football related, locking them away. Dear viewers and dear listeners, this is where I draw the curtains on part 1 as the story goes on in part 2.